Okay, everyone, if you haven't already, go ahead and open up the link in Canvas to the UK Libraries. That'll bring you to this page. We are going to be looking at the databases. You should have read about the databases in your research chapter, but just as a reminder, databases store information. So these are places where you're going to be able to access different magazines, different academic journals, newspapers, books. It's just a huge repository of information that you have access to as UK students. So what we are going to do today is figure out which one should we look at and how do we find information. So one of the things to know is that when you come here, you're going to see this whole A to Z database, or this list of databases, A to Z, 762, and that can be a little overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking for. So I've put together a list for you of different helpful databases that you might use. So the first is going to be Academic Search Complete, or now it looks like it's called Academic Search Ultimate, which is going to be a really general database that is going to have information from every single different discipline. It's going to have lots of different magazines, newspapers, academic journals, lots of options. If you are focusing on a topic that is more psychology based, like mental health or identity, personality, anything like that, APA Psych Info is a really good option for you. If you're doing anything that's going to involve research about education, and that could be elementary, middle, high, or secondary, college education, ERIC is going to be the best database for you. For science, Science Direct. Nexus Uni offers information about news, business, and legal, different sources for that. And then you also just have access to lots of different newspapers, the Lexington Herald Leader, for example, the New York Times, where you can get a subscription through UK to access all of the paid New York Times games. We probably won't have time to get to that today, but just know that you can. All right. So everybody should be here. And the first thing I'm going to do is ask you to go to Academic Search Ultimate. We're going to start with this really general database. And it's going to ask you to log in. And we're going to do that by signing into the University of Kentucky. And mine might go straight there. If yours doesn't log you into this right away, it might ask you to log into your Microsoft account. Please, please, please make sure that you are logging in using your UK Link Blue ID. That is super important. And if you don't do that, it's not going to work. So if you want to pause the video for a minute, while everybody gets logged in, make sure you're using your UK Link Blue ID. Once you have done that, you can go back to this link over here, and once again, choose Academic Search Ultimate, and then it should allow you to log in and get to this page. So Mr. Hewlett, if you will pause it and then let everybody get logged in and then come back. All right, so once everybody is logged in, everybody should be on this page. Searching for sources in a library database is a little bit different than searching for sources on Google, which is mostly what we're used to. In Google, we could put a question like, how is AI changing media, right? That's not going to work in an academic database for the search there. What we need to do is figure out what are some of the key words that we want to use, and we need to try putting those together in different ways. And this is where I recommend that you start to use your brainstorming. Look at that and figure out what are some of the things that we want to find out, and what are some of those key terms we're going to use. So if my topic is AI in media, the first thing I'm going to put in this first box is AI. And then you'll see it'll pop up AI or artificial intelligence. And so that's going to tell the search engine to search for both of those words. It's not going to exclude it if it doesn't say artificial intelligence. And then I'm going to try media here. This might give me too many, but we're going to start there. And before I hit search, the one thing that I want to do is come down and choose full text. This is going to ensure that we have full access to the article. Okay, so we're going to come down, limit our results to full text. You're not required to for this particular assignment, but if you wanted to make sure that you only had scholarly peer-reviewed sources, you would click on this one right here as well. All right, so we're just going to search and see what we get. All right, so I got 5,754 articles or sources, and that is probably too many. And if you see, I'm going to start to see things about like effective bacterial growth on the pH culture media. That is definitely not something that I wanted. So I might try to limit this by going back to my search and adding another key term. So maybe I'll add here teenagers or adolescents or young adults. Let's see what I get now. All right, that brought me down to 140, which is much better. But you'll also see that this very first article that I'm getting is not, the title is not in English. It looks like the abstract will be in English, but that's still too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up here to all filters. And then, sorry, I don't know why this is popping up here. But I'm going to scroll down on the right-hand side here till I get to language. And then I'm going to select English and then apply those filters. So now everything that I got should be in English, and I should have full access to it. All right, so this one looks interesting to me. Teens Tech and Talk, Adolescents' Use of Emotional Reactions to Snapchat's My AI Chatbot. So if this one looks interesting, I can click on it and then scroll down. It'll tell me who my authors are, the title of the article, all my publication information that I'll need for my APA citation. And then down here will be an abstract. And this abstract is basically a summary of what this whole study is about. I don't know if you noticed on the first page that it told me that this was, and it says it right here as well, that it's a peer-reviewed article in an academic journal. So that means it's going to be a study of some sort. And this gives me a breakdown of what it is. All right. So if I decide that I want this article, I think it might be useful. I'm not going to read it all in depth. I might open it up and skim it. But if I decide that I want to keep it, the first thing I'm going to do is download it. Okay. I prefer PDF. You guys can choose the online full text HTML. I just have a preference for PDF myself. And so I'll download that. And then it will open and it looks like it would if it were in the journal. Oops. Where'd my search go? Here it is. All right. So when you find something that looks interesting, go ahead and save it. The thing that is the most important thing for you to hear from me today, okay? And if you're not paying attention, I need everybody to be quiet and pay attention right now because this is the absolute most important thing that you're going to hear from me, is when you want to save an article, you absolutely cannot go up here and choose the URL, copy it, and paste it somewhere to go back to it later, okay? That will not work. It is not a permanent link. So to save an article, you have to download it and add it to either just your own computer or your Google Drive, okay? So what I'd like you guys to do is to spend some time, however much time you guys have, probably about 10, maybe 15 minutes, depending on how fast you got through the earlier stuff. Spend some time looking through the databases and trying to find a couple of articles that would be useful to you and your group to help you with Research Journal 1. All right, and then Mr. Hewlett, this is the end of the video.